Alright. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Guys, we have a special treat and a bit of a story for you guys today. It's because we are looking at King Cobra, one of the most famous top pro players in the world. In the top right, Sergi, aka King Cobra. Now, I'm kind of being joking there because King Cobra is a Cannon Rush / Skytoss player who is... was a pro in the early days of Wings of Liberty, and then he basically coached people. This is the guy Harston used to get coaching from, on how to Cannon Rush. Every season, he would go, pay King Cobra some money, and get King Cobra to show him all the abusive Cannon Rush spots. He's one of those guys. He's like a European printf, you know, one of the real old school OG Cannon Rushes. And he's playing against Clem here in a best-of-3. Let's update that scoreboard. In the ESL EU Weekly. This is Clem. Clem is, of course, usually about 6.97k MMR, thereabouts. King Cobra hovers at about 5.8k. So we are looking at over 1,000 MMR difference between these two players. Over 1,000 MMR, right? And yet, King Cobra is going to give us some very interesting games. So obviously, not the favorite here, beyond an underdog when there's that big an MMR difference. But he's a cheeky bastard, and watch how he makes this game way more competitive than you would expect it to be. So we've got an orbital down there in the bottom left. It's a reactor first with a late scout for Clem. So Clem here doing really regular things, and that's looks like kind of looks like that's a proxy Void Ray spot. And I mean, Cobra's not got that many probes, does he? And he gets a gas steal off. A Cybercore, though, the thing is his probe's trapped in there. So I think King Cobra wanted to gas steal into proxy Void Ray, but because his probe's kind of stuck in his base and that Cybercore's about to finish, he needs to go build it right now. He's got like 3 seconds until the Cybercore's finished. Okay, so the Stargate's going to go down late, but because the SCV let him out of the base, that's actually a big mistake from Clem right there. Stargate goes down about 10-12 seconds later than it could have, but he gets the gas steal, and that's a disaster. So Clem is forced to play 2 barracks factory. Okay. I think this is a big mistake from Clem. So, if your opponent goes Stargate proxy and they gas steal you, you've really screwed up as the Terran. Because you can't defend with tech. The best response to this is actually to go 1 base 3 rack stim. As silly as that sounds, in my opinion, that is the best by far, where you just want to get lots of units out. Now, the argument behind the factory is you can use Widow Mines. Widow Mines do zone out Void Rays, there's no detection, but this is just going to be a really hard position. Now with the reactor first though, that gives him such a head start on his marine production. I think Clem can actually push this back for a little bit, does cancel that first pylon, there's an adept here. Remember, nothing else building, just a second adept, a zealot, and there's already a forward gateway. So backing up these proxy Void Rays is going to be stalkers, adepts, sieging Clem as hard as possible. The Marines are going to start to clear that gas. Clem realizing, hey, if I've gone for the tech, I'm going to need to use that tech, aren't I? I need to get rid of this bloody assimilator, don't I? And speaking of that, does look like our health bars have actually turned themselves off, which is cool. We get to emulate some GSL style observing, guys, where you get to guess what the hit points of the units are unless I click on them. Void Ray's coming in. Bunker's there. Not full yet, that bunker. I think he knows Cobra's going to avoid it. Now, Cobra comes in, starts to hit these Marines, backs off. That's such a big ball of Marines, but they don't have stim just yet. That being said, oh, are they going to commit? Okay, they're trying to not take damage to the Zealot. A bunch of them do die. They get rid of all the basic units, but now that the shield battery's ready, ooh, okay, they just focus the battery. Why not? And then they start to step on top. The Void Ray's having to pull back. Dude, he's going to depower this potentially. Those Marines, though, getting very weak. Cyclone's here. Oh, he's got a Cyclone. Okay, dude, he's held. He's actually held. Clem is actually totally fine. Oh, Clem. He loses a Cyclone. Oh, a massive overextension there from Clem. Both of those Void Rays, of course, as you can see, deep in the red and the yellow here. And these Marines are going to depower this gateway on the front. But there's another one there. So there's still 2 gateways and Warp Gate. And that Stalker's coming out. Magfield and Cyclones are on the way. Does look like Clem's held on for now. Remember, there's only 23 probes to King Cobra. So King Cobra is in a pretty rough economic position right now. I do think the Cyclones, you know, it turns out 1 gas was enough to build Cyclones and add Magfield as long as he skipped the starport. So it's not bad. The Cyclone is obviously the most general purpose unit, great range and so on, but that's a lot of units. Okay, good lock-on, but good pullback by Cobra. He only took a single tick of the Cyclone lock-on. And dude, Clem way overextended there. Yeah, Clem way overextended. Remember that Clem's strength is his ability to take fights other players don't take. He even says that's what makes me special as a Terran player. I fight where other Terrans wouldn't, and players are always shocked by it, and they freak out a bit, and they really struggle because he's constantly trading where other players just back off. It's also his downside. He just ran down into shield batteries, void rays, and units warping, and he did not need to do that. He really, because now look at this, Cobra now reasserts control of this area. He's trying to expand, but he's on one base. He's turtled up a little bit, and Cobra's got gas. He can warp in a sentry, force field the ramp, and that could do a lot. Okay, just cancel. Cobra doesn't get the cancel, a little slow there. Let's check the APM tab, by the way, just to get a bit of perspective on the speed these two players are playing at. People were memeing, guys, in the last 2 weeks so much about how Clem could teach Marine Lord about how to use his tools properly. Well, right now, I think he's the one who's going to be raging about his tools because he's just getting completely busted and rolled by a player playing at less than half his speed, but with peak strategy. And I mean, Clem's given him too many openings here right from the start, scouting so slowly against a guy who is known for his cannon rush and his cheese plays. I think was a huge mistake. The Void Ray does mess up, attacks the gas and then the command center. The Void Rays do get the other Cyclone, but no, he went too deep. Cobra, oh, he gets out on 2 hit points with that Void Ray. I mean, he's still got some adepts. I don't think that was worth it for him. And look at that. Clem says, look, as long as he can't expand behind this, I can survive. I can recover. eBay block on the natural of Cobra, who is still one base all in. And I actually think Clem's held now. As silly as that sounds, he's got a Cyclone popping out. He's got 11 Marines. He's got to stop running down these ramps, though. Oh, my God. This is so costly fighting into that shield battery, dude. Oh, look at that Cyclone hunting for the Void Ray. So he pulls back. Cobra's really good with the Void Ray micro. I'm very impressed, guys. That shield battery's out, but now that he's got a fresh one, he can hold position there. 35 Marines have died so far this game. This is very even in the units lost count. This is actually so bloody intense right now. God damn it! Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Because there's no expansion, I think it's kind of terrible for Cobra, because you've only got 3 gateways. But at the same time, I mean, Clem will mine out his main faster than Cobra will because of mules. So there's an argument there. There's a missile turret building because Clem realizes DTs could be coming in next. And he's like, shit, man. There could be a DT transition. That's one of the things that often kills people who get stuck on one base like Clem is now. So anyway, guys, look at that. The Cyclones and the Void Rays, the most important units here. Adepts, very good versus Marines. Void Rays, very good versus Cyclones. Cyclones, very good at killing Void Rays. Marines, of course, just more of a general purpose unit. Yeah, he cancelled. Notice Clem actually cancelled his lock on there because he wanted to start it cooling down so that he could fight these Adepts. And he does end up doing that. The Adepts dive. Oh, they actually focus fired a Cyclone there? Oh, that was a bad dive by Cobra. He gets 3 SCVs, but he doesn't really kill any fighting units. Clem now can repair his Cyclones. Cobra here, I think, has a raging Protoss Stiffy, and maybe just needs to tuck that shit away. Needs to waistband it a little bit. I really do feel there's always a chance to get ahead by expanding in this sort of scenario as the Protoss. Even if you take your third base, say, as your natural, he shades in again. The bunker gets busted on the right side, but he's once again losing Adepts. He gets an SCV. Can he get another SCV? Nope, they all go down, man. Now, he does take out a depot, but Clem is not supply blocked just yet. And those Void Rays, of course, very damaged. I mean, Cobra just wants to kill. He just wants to kill. He wants to go until it's dead. He's going to take out the reactor. There's already 19 Marines out. I don't know if you can deal with the density of firepower. Oh, when a Void Ray goes down, and once again, Cobra goes in with 3 Adepts. They are going to take out 1 SCV, but I mean, those Marines are even walking down the ramp. He's got a Viking as well. Clem's going for it. Yeah, this is where I could agree with Clem shoving down that ramp. It's been a bad choice up to now in this game, but I think his Marines could start a step forward. The Cyclones and the Viking could lock onto the Void Rays. It's always awkward pushing down that ramp. Oh, especially because there is a sentry there now, which I did not see. So that's why Clem backed off. He doesn't want to get split by a force field, lose half his Marines on the low ground while everything else is not fighting. Cobra here is an absolute mad lad and a little bit of a Chad. He does not believe in expanding. One base or die trying. PrintF somewhere out there is incredibly proud. But Clem has a siege tank, and he's going to siege that in range of all the units, the batteries, the Cyclones. Oh, a Cyclone goes down. Oh, and the force field does split those Marines, but the tank takes out one of the units. The sentry does survive. Adepts go down for just about nothing. The Void Rays get a decent little trade there, but the Vikings and the Cyclones actually cover them. And unless you've got another sentry there, I think it's time that Clem pushes down this ramp. Those shield batteries are out of juice. They are running dry. The Cyclone's very exposed. Another Cyclone goes down. Man, Clem, honestly, has got to take care of his Cyclones a bit better. That being said, I think Cobra's just out of units at this point, and he's going to have to tap out. Holy shit, dude. Anyone who's mad for that game one and how close it is, just remember, Clem did not scout early on. What? Against him? It seems wild. Maybe he wanted to test himself, but he does come out on top despite putting himself in a very compromised situation with his 18 SCV scout. Gets away with it in game one. All right. Does defend game one. Let's see if he's a bit safer. Maybe goes for an early scout in game two or a proxy barracks or something. Well, no proxy barracks because he hasn't gone out on the map. Nonetheless, he weathers the storm. I always, when I see someone playing Haas, playing King Cobra, playing these guys and not just scouting really early or like getting in their face early, I'm like, dude, you are going to make things so much harder for yourself. Like, it is so scary to just scout that late. But reactor first arguably gives you that beefy setup, right? Because you just have so many Marines. There's an argument that if you go reactor first, it does better. If you do like a late scout with a Reaper opening, get your gas stolen, you're probably dead. But Clem there got away with it with your reactor first. Still representing Team Liquid well. And Terran players all over. His opponent in the top right, sending a probe out to look for proxies by the looks of it. That's why he's going over here. Common proxy locations here. Of course, to jump up the ledge. King Cobra. So a cannon rush expert, and he's going to be hiding a pylon. Okay, so awesome. Okay, so I think what King Cobra is doing is like, look, you know my proxy void ray is scary. If I hide a pylon, when you scout, you see double gas, you're going to freak the shit out. Now, what's really cool is he could still just proxy Oracle off that. He could go Phoenix as well. This is the build which is actually, I can't believe it's become so common. I honestly don't know who invented it, but I always credit, because obviously like there's always some gold player who did it, but Haas is the guy who at Valencia 2017? Yeah, 2017. It was the Valencia, 2018. Valencia 2018. WTF Valencia 2018 is where Haas was doing this build versus Terrans, where they were like scouting everywhere for proxies, and he'd just hide a Stargate and play defensive Phoenix, and he'd wait for the SCV scout to leave and then take his Nexus. So they see double gas, they see only one pylon, they immediately assume, oh god, I'm getting proxied. But look, the SCV leaves, he immediately puts a Nexus down before even getting tech. So this is actually only about 20 seconds delayed from a Cybercore before Nexus opening. But look, Clem already bites the bait, goes second gas, goes factory. So this is actually a fantastic way. And it's not even that quick a factory, guys, because he's gone reactor first. It's like 203. It's not like 140 factory or something like that you would normally get. So Clem is actually now reacting as if he's being one base all in. He's scouring the map with the SCV and another SCV. So he's losing all this mining time, and he's delayed his command center massively. And when he realizes what's up, he's going to be like, oh, far out. Because this is just a normal opening for King Cobra. He just delays his Nexus 20 seconds, mines a bit more gas early, doesn't care, he's going to use it anyway. I told you guys, he plays like cannons and sky toss and super cheese all-ins. He can't really play much else as far as I know. Maybe I'll be surprised in this series. And he's actually going a sentry for scouting. He's going to hallucinate across the map. Shield battery to back things up. He's walled off the jumping ledge. And Clem has not gone in to check the Nexus yet. So Clem right now, dude, you need a command center. I think he's waiting for the CC money now. I think he's realizing I've been tricked. Oh, he goes Starport first. So the thing is, what's predictable in this scenario is that the Terran will, when they finally realize what's up, because they're so committed to their defense, they often go for like a 1-1-1 push with like a few tanks, Marines. They might try and bunker push you, but already having the shield battery, as long as he keeps up Phoenix production and then just keeps building gateway units, 2 adepts and a sentry already out, I think he should be totally fine. And already some Marines coming out across the map. Clem realizing, fuck, I gotta put some pressure on, dude. SCV's down there waiting desperately to get 400 minerals, but he has been tricked. And this is not something that's only happened to Clem. We saw this happen to Cure. A few weeks ago, Hero brought this build back and actually beat Cure in a series. Same map, in fact. It took Cure till 5 minutes to realize there was an expansion. Cure was like so convinced he was being all in, and he just couldn't figure out what it was. And then he realized Hero just had a full nexus of probes, and he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude?" and then Hero just started Phoenix harassing him and killing all of his workers as well. And it was like Hero was like double workers the entire game, and it was an absolute stomp. So if you can make your opponent scared of your all-ins, and then you sell them a story of I'm doing the all-in and then do something else. I mean, this is a very clever way to play this after game 1, right? And, oh, Cobra saves that Phoenix on 6 hit points. He keeps picking up this Cyclone, which means the Adepts will automatically attack the Marines, the units they're good against. The Cyclone goes down, and Clem, famous for overextending against Protoss. When they go Stargate and he's playing this this kind of 1-1-1 Cyclone Viking sort of stuff, he is famous for pushing across the map with a handful of units, threatening and getting out of trouble. He's so often, I'm there shouting at the screen going, pull back, don't go so deep. And he just like dances on the edge of danger, and the Protoss tries to engage and he kills the Phoenix and pulls back, kills an Adept, pulls back. And you're like, I don't know how you get out of these situations, because every time I do it, it looks like the fight that just happened there, where that was really good for Cobra. 1 probe for 8 Marines in a Cyclone, already lost the 2 scouting SCVs. Cobra, realizing he's ahead, what's he do? He goes Robo Bay for Colossus, he's building an Immortal, immediately drops a 3rd base. So he's going to be going Phoenix Colossus, which is a very powerful style. And this is really good, because if you're playing half your opponent's speed, 1/3 of your opponent's speed, if your opponent is Clem, a multitasking god, you want to just make a very controlling, defensive style. If he tries to drop, your Phoenix is going to shit on him. Now, interestingly, he's not building more Phoenix. Normally with this style, you want to make sure you have enough Phoenix to just completely shut down drops. On the other side of things, Clem knows he's up against a Turtle player, and he's still making Vikings and Marines. So I'm going to be really critical of Clem, and I'm always because he's already lost his first push, so there's no way he's going to make a 1-1-1 push work. So he's playing right now so scared. He thinks he's going to get all-inned by like Phoenix Zealot or Phoenix Adept or something. Look how much anti-air he's built and how many units. Only now at almost 6 minutes does he start the 3rd command center. So to put this in context, is that a slow 3rd command center? In a more normal game, no. But when you're playing a Stargate Phoenix build, if you're not trying to do damage and you're letting them just get a 3rd up, you need to rush your 3rd. So you guys will often see me go really greedy on this 3rd. I won't even build my first Cyclone and Viking. I'll delay those about 25 seconds. I'll put my 3rd CC down in about 3:30, right? 3:45. I always want it down before 4 minutes, and then I'll build Cyclones and Vikings for defense. Now, obviously, that's an exaggerated scenario, but I would still have hoped that Clem got that 3rd CC down, but I think he was so afraid of just Adept swapping in and a Phoenix Adept timing coming in, he felt, oh, this guy's wild, you know, I'm the favored player, let's just play super safe. Problem is, now, look how far behind he is economically. He scans that 3rd, I'm telling you what, Clem is pissed off right now seeing that 3rd base. And he's like, my natural's not even saturated and your 3rd's almost full. Oh my god. So he's going to feel pretty shit with that. A few more Phoenix did add in 1 Disruptor, 1 Colossus, 1 Immortal. So he's adding Disruptors one at a time, and he's going for extra Stargates at a 2nd Cybercore already, and non-stop chrono going into +1. Talk about obsessed with air upgrades. Roddy will not be getting upset about this game, saying where the hell is your double plus or your +2 air upgrades. He's actually going to have +2 armor as well with that Cybercore. He's going to send Hallucination Scouts across. I mean, Clem's so far behind the curve from this opening. We'll have to see what he can do to get back in it. I feel like it's kind of interesting, because it really, there's, if your opponent has limitations that you know about as a player, you can abuse them. My question is, does Cobra have what I call the Zest limitation in late game? The Zest limitation is you don't know how to Psystorm while also using air units. You just don't. Like, it's not in your repertoire. You see those two things as mutually exclusive. My instincts tell me a guy who's double chronoing air upgrades and massing only air units and disruptors is not going to add Psystorm, because it's going to be too complicated for his army control. He's just going to think disruptors counter bio with Colossus, and then I just win the air fight with like Phoenix, Tempest to pick away from afar, and then probably adding carriers in as well, I would imagine, right? Now, in this scenario, you can mass Viking and actually beat that with mass Viking because they don't have the Psystorm or the Archons on the ground to hit them. That's, of course, very, very, very dicey. You could also go mass bio with tanks. So you actually don't need Vikings at all, because if you get enough tanks to kill the disruptors before their shots hit you, maybe you do 1 or 2 spreads. But if you just have enough Marines to, like, overwhelm carriers, that works. Now, that doesn't work against Tempest, though, because Tempest can obviously just pick away at you from afar. They kind of, you can't just slow siege the way you can against carriers. So the Tempests kind of counter that tank option, actually, and there's still tanks being produced, quite a few of them anyway. It's pausing at the moment, but yeah, there we go, another tank on the way. So this is a really fascinating scenario as... What, do you like boobs or something? Is he just building boobies in his base? Why? My lovely Protoss lumps. My lovely Protoss lumps. I got these lovely Protoss lumps. Oh yeah, my hump, my hump. My lovely Protoss lumps. No, seriously, why are you making 2 giant breasts in your main base? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Are you trying to troll him? Are you trying to troll Clem? Or do you actually think this is good? What the fuck is this for? The only explanation, it's not for probe production, because you don't even have a 4th, is it's for chrono boost. You're going to spend 800 minerals to get 2 chrono boosts, and then like a minute and a half later get another 2 chrono boosts. You already have 3 NEXUS. Okay, I mean... you're like, yeah, I need my 3-3 air timing or something? Like, what the... This is the silliest, most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. He's also making so many tempers, 7 tempers before swapping to carriers. And he's hitting his chronos. Chronoing the air upgrades and chronoing +3. He's like, yeah, I got it. I'm... So he's actually out of chrono boost, isn't he? He's got only 1 chrono on the 3rd, and it's timed out. Cobra's done this before. King Cobra has done this before, guys. He knows that his Nexus energy is about to run out, plans a minute and 10 seconds ahead, that's how long a Nexus takes, and times out these 2 NEXUS finishing with him running out of chrono boost energy so he can hit 3-2 or 3-3 faster. Now, there is an argument for this, because minerals is not that important for him. His army is so gas heavy, all he needs minerals for is cannons and batteries. Now, if I was him, I'd look at this defense and say, dude, you're pretty open to drops on the flanks right now. I would want more than 1 cannon guarding my production, more than 1 cannon on this edge, rather than these fucking NEXUS. But I think King Cobra is just going to hit a timing. I think he's... So remember I said he's probably a non-Storm player? If you don't add Storm and the game goes long enough, it gets really hard for you. And notice there's like Thors, Vikings, and Bio, and Ghosts. It's a really weird mix of units for Clem right now. This is not like a real cohesive army for Clem. It's kind of like a mismatched army. And the thing is, what's he got? 1-2 upgrades. It'll be 2-1 in a bit. And then he's got no air or he'll have +1 air attack only. So he's so far behind on upgrades. Even though Thors are good, 1 or 2 Thors isn't that great. Vikings are good, but if he gets like 6 carriers with 3-3 out, or 3-2 even, versus +1, I mean, that upgrade advantage is ridiculous. Cobra is like, I want more carriers, please. I'm going to throw away my Colossus and my Immortal. He's like, I don't care about these units. So he just A-moves them along the side of the map. Does he have any ground units left? 1 sentry for Guardian Shield. That'll be under his air units with Guardian Shield. It'll probably die at the start of the fight from the Bio stimming on it. And it's just disruptors as well to maybe kill the Thors and Bio. But it's basically just going to be an air A-move with sick upgrades. He's got 3-2, starts +3 armor, instantly chrono boosts it. This is actually so fucking ridiculous, but you know what? Clem has not had a chance to get any movement going or anything. Clem's starting to throw Marauders away. Now, Clem is going 2-1 air upgrades and +2 armor. So I think Marine Lords, that series with Marine Lord has kind of trained Clem a little bit here to be a little bit more focused on upgrades in these long scenarios. But I still am a little bit iffy about his army, guys. He's got 22 Vikings. So the problem is you need to kind of try... If you can kite down and get rid of the Phoenix, that's helpful just because they get in the way a bit. And you definitely need to focus fire the carriers and the Tempests. But I would rather have even more Vikings and not bother with the Thors. I also wouldn't want so many Ghosts. I think 8-9 Ghosts is probably a little too many. Now, he's also got such a high SCV count. Remember, he's behind on upgrades. I think he needs to fight with missile turrets to actually defend. I mean, the thing is, Cobra's actually not going for a timing. Is he waiting for +3? He's getting Tectonic Destabilizers. Now, he's adding Phoenix, which I think Vikings beat Phoenix. But if you've got Interceptors in there kind of confusing them, you don't want to focus fire the Phoenix, right? So the way it works is actually Phoenix are a fucking nightmare. Even though they don't do that much damage, they're going to go in. You can't really focus them. If you A-move, yeah, you'll shoot some Phoenix, but you'll also be shooting Interceptors, which is terrible for Vikings. Yeah, this is actually really awkward. I don't even know. He's going to kill some of his own probes. Transfer your probes from there, buddy. You got an oversaturated mineral line on your 3rd, bro. So King Cobra is trying to get as much supply as possible. He's killing his own probes. Kill these probes. Don't kill the probes that are mining on the fresh base. Is he going to kill a sentry as well? No. So he keeps killing his probes. He's like, okay, we need 3 more carriers. Let's start plasma shields. He's chrono boosting the onion pulse crystals as well. And onion pulse crystals. Clem right now has 28 Vikings, and he's adding more. So he's going to go 32 Vikings. If he can kite into the turrets, he's good. But he doesn't have any turrets here. He's just killing some of his units right now. He's got to kill all of his siege tanks. Honestly, if I was Clem, I would just kill all the siege tanks. I would just have like pure Viking, and I would just try to fly in, shift click the carriers, and then shift click the Tempests, but I would really want to be the one to initiate. If you can come from a surprising angle and like kill a carrier before the fight really starts, that's going to be incredible. If the interceptors are already launched, it's going to be really hard to fight it down. Now the carriers do go in. These missile turrets start to go down. He's going to start to just pick off some Phoenix to start. He gets 2 Phoenix to begin with. He's going to go for it. No, he gets a Tempest, maybe. Okay, I don't think he got that, actually. Oh, he's trying to kite. And does get another Phoenix or 2. Remember, the Vikings can kite pretty well here for Clem. But he goes a little bit deep there. That was not an A move. I think he was trying to target a carrier. And the Phoenix are going to punish him a little bit here. He could have got a few more volleys off. Oh, carriers. Carriers in the open. Carriers in the open. Okay. Oh my god. Sorry, guys, by the way. The scoreboard was incorrect there. I swapped it at one point. Of course, Clem is up 1 game. I accidentally flipped it when I was zooming out. My bad. Okay, so this is actually looking fine for Clem. Gets rid of the Observer, which is really big as well. If he can EMP all of the air units, that's huge. So that's actually okay, because now he's catching up on air upgrades. So remember, it's 3-3. But if he can get... Yeah, he's starting 3, +3 attack. His +2 armor's on the way. So Clem's closing the gap on that. And it's just mass Phoenix being added in, which... Remember, I said in a pitched battle, if it's messy enough, the Phoenix are really annoying. But in that sort of battle where they just separate from the carriers, the Phoenix are trash. They're really not doing well. Overall, units lost is much worse for Clem. Obviously, early game went terribly, and Clem's thrown away a few more of his units. But we'll see what happens. Transformation servos is there. Obviously, guys, for those who are wondering, by the way, yes, Thors hard counter all of these units. The only problem you have with Thors is that Disruptors hard counter Thors. To a certain extent, it's really hard to dodge balls. So they can just kind of chuck their balls at your face. And it gets really awkward. Also, they can stack all their air units together, and your Thors get stuck behind each other on the choke points, which can be a little bit uncomfortable. So it's still 3-3, +1 plasma shields is now there. Only 2-1 upgrades, remember, for the Vikings. Some of them are damaged as well. The ghosts! The ghosts! Oh, he just goes for the sensor tower, does Cobra, not for the ghosts. Remember, guys, there is an over 1,000 MMR disadvantage for King Cobra. I mean, the only advantage, I imagine, is... Wait, did that scan see the recall? I think he saw the recall. He tried to recall to the bottom right so he could surprise him and run in and snipe a base. Little does he know that, number 1, Clem scanned his army. Number 2, Clem has not retaken his base. Now, obviously, you're more used to this army, but what do you got? 16 Phoenix. I still don't think Phoenix are great versus Vikings, even with the upgrade advantage. The Vikings are not stacked very well. Ooh, a bad start to the fight there for Clem. He's got turrets, though. If he can just kite back far enough and fight the Phoenix on their own, that will work. Okay, there we go. Yeah, notice he's clearing the Phoenix out. But that means most of the missile turrets are gone. A lot of the interceptors have already died, though. The Vikings, they're going to start to focus fire. He does take out 3 carriers, but then he kites back from those Phoenix. So like I said, there's a problem when you're engaging both at once. But the missile turrets really did help Clem out there. He's doing a good amount of damage on some of these units. It's hard to tell how many Vikings are dying right now. He's only got 23 Vikings left. I think right now, honestly, if he chased that army, I think he could actually pick off a lot of it. There's only 27 interceptors, which is not even 4 carriers worth of damage. Tempests are just a shit unit, and there's only a handful of Phoenix. I think Clem just missed an opportunity to chase that army down. He's now an almost pure Viking ghost. This observer sees him. I really also think he should be repairing these Vikings. It's so worth it because this is all about efficiency. Units lost tab is a 6,000 advantage for King Cobra. And remember, this is a split map situation. Also, Clem has not retaken the bottom right. So as this mines out, if this sort of trading continues, King Cobra is going to win with just Phoenix, these air units. And as I said, I was pretty certain at the outset, at the start of this, I was pretty damn certain that Cobra was not going to be making Storm because there are certain Skytoss players who it's really hard to use Storm and Disruptors at the same time, number 1. But number 2, there's a lot of Skytoss players who are experts with cannons, Skytoss, and they like their army to be a little bit more A-move friendly generally. And it's more about having the right timings with your air upgrades, going in and fighting. The problem is, of course, you do lack the opportunity where a single Storm on top of the Viking Flower does like 1,000 damage, 2,000 damage. Like, it does so much damage, even if they just sit in it for 1 second of the 4-second storm. It's crazy. Because say you hit 20 Vikings for 1 second, that's 20 times 20, 400 damage from one size storm. You know, it's insane. Now, the carriers get spotted by the scan. He's up to 11 carriers. Mama's on the way as well. So Mama's about to pop out. The Tempests are going to siege the bottom side, which to me seems absolutely wild. But you know what, guys? They got the Tectonic Destabilizer. They do plus 40 damage to buildings. 92 damage a shot to buildings. SCVs, they're going for the mass repair. Now, the Vikings are coming back. He's going to try and disruptor shot the Vikings. Unfortunately, that does not work. Cute idea. I think he was looking for the pack of ghosts and a recall. The Vikings are like, oi! Oh, I think Clem could have killed one there. I really think Clem could have actually killed one, but a little slow there on the attack. Now, the Carriers, Tempests, Phoenix are all out. He's got only +1 Plasma Shield, so after upgrading so well with the double macro Nexus, absolute fucking ridiculous maneuver, by the way, oh, he's actually repositioned. And look, the Tempest's going back in on the right, so Clem has to split his army. Oh my god, his ghosts and his turrets on the left side are in trouble. The ghosts actually kill Interceptors pretty well. Vikings catch every Tempest on the right side of the map, though. That's a great trade for Clem there, who looks like he loses quite a lot of Vikings. Oh man, once again, the units lost tab keeps getting worse and worse for Clem. Dude, those Tempests actually beat the Vikings. That's fucking crazy. So he needs to send more Vikings there. He's still just building Vikings. You gotta build more units. Clem's out of money. He's just spent all of his minerals on turrets. Clem is actually losing these trades cost for cost, because even though Interceptors are dying, they're so cheap to replace. Clearing the turrets is actually big. I mean, it's mostly mineral advantage, I think, that Cobra's getting, but right now, Clem is out of minerals. So that might actually be the resource he runs out in, which is rare. If you're playing mass air, it's usually a battle for the gas. Now, these Phoenix are getting thrown away. Cobra's like, could you please kill these? Yes, please. Thank you. Hey, if I get a Phoenix, if I get a Viking or two, that's great. Gets 2 Vikings for those 6 Phoenix, and he says, I'm going to replace them with carriers. 14 carriers, 4 more on the way. Does pure Viking beat pure carrier? I think the answer is yes, guys, but guess what? Clem right now is worried about this game dragging on. What is Clem not paying attention to? His work account's way too high. And actually, Clem fucked up. Guys, Clem doesn't have orbitals. Clem never built an orbital bank. Clem never built the Iron Bank of Terran. He never built the Iron Bank of Terran. Guys, for late game, you're meant to have at least 7 or 8 orbitals, not only 4. A huge mistake. The probes are getting thrown away as well. So, okay, 2 things that are going wrong here for Clem. Number 1, he went to Mega Late Game. Because he was behind all game, he was so afraid of getting pushed, he never built the Iron Bank of Terran, which means he only has 4 orbital commands. So he actually doesn't have that many scans. He can't track exactly where Cobra is very well, number 1. Number 2, he does not have the ability to drop mules. So he actually can't afford to throw his SCVs away, which normally the Terran advantage in late game is you can sit at maybe 20, 30 SCVs and still have awesome mining by dropping mules. You only need SCVs for gas. Because he never got to that point, that's why he's so mineral starved, guys. He's not able to drop mules. He's using all of his money just to do that. And because of this, guess what? Cobra is only mining on 50 workers, saying that's fine. I'm eventually going to mine out these 2 last bases. Oh, this one as well. But I don't really need a lot of probes to do that. What I need is more army supply to win the fight. And on mass carrier, 18 carriers, he's building 2 more. And he's throwing more and more probes. I mean, Clem, you got to realize, kill your siege tanks right fucking now, mate. I know you're worried about getting killed by a ground swap. It's not going to happen. Clem already has 19 ghosts, which is way too many. Now, why is 19 ghosts too many? The reason is ghosts can EMP units, so having some ghosts, especially if you just run in with a cloaked ghost, drop a few EMPs, that's good. You need 3, 4, maybe 5 ghosts for EMPs. What's the rest for? Well, they can kill interceptors. The problem is that is not how Vikings engage. The reason Vikings fight versus interceptors, they ignore them, they run past, they shoot the carriers. Ghosts fall back and shoot the interceptors down along with bio. There's a different way of engaging. The Vikings are going to go for it. 36 Vikings versus 19 carriers. He does take down a bunch of carriers with the start of that fight. I'm so excited. I'm scrolling everywhere. Sorry, guys. That was a really good trade. He got 3 carriers there for only a couple of Vikings. So that was a really good trade because Clem kind of surprised him. But he's got to be careful still. Oh, he's going to get 1 or 2. Oh, he doesn't one-shot it. Oh, he did not quite get the finish. But look at that. Mama says, over here, lads. Calls the carriers to the left side of the map, recalls them, and he's going to try and snipe this base. Remember that Clem's income is absolutely scuffed right now. It is not just a scrappy economy. It is going to be a shit economy if this base goes down because the bases on the other side are dying. He does have building armor, though. These carriers are in trouble, dude. Oh my god, he's just going to engage? Cobra engages. His interceptors were already pre-launched. Is there enough Vikings? Okay, the Vikings do take down some of the carriers, but he ends up disengaging there. No, don't go back in. You've got to be very decisive with these engagements as Clem. Oh, he's taking out a lot of carriers, though. Oh, I think he's got it. I think he might have it. He's taking out so many carriers. The ghosts are actually clearing the interceptors. There's no interceptors left. He falls back to the cannons. I actually think... Oh, no, because he's got so few Vikings left. I was going to say he should have chased him. As it is, let's check the units lost. It's only 3,000 difference, so that's way better for Clem. If Clem can just drop mules, which he doesn't fucking have, dude, his mineral bank is so bad. He's winning these fights now, these last few fights, through focus firing the carriers. I mean, it's pure carrier, and Cobra's just trying to, like, basically fight him by having more army supply. And the thing is, that army supply difference is disgusting right now. It is so effing massive. It's 13 carriers. He's building 6 more, and then he can add another 2 on top of that. So he's going to be able to go up to 21 carriers. which is just a vast amount of army supply. The Terran is down 30 plus army supply. If he doesn't fight with the turrets and support them, then he just doesn't have enough. He's back down to 25 Vikings. That is not good, guys. You want to have not just 1 or 2, 1.5 Vikings per carrier. You want to have like 3 Vikings per carrier. Vikings are 2 supply, carriers are 6. Carriers are obviously a crazy good unit. And how the engagement goes down is also very important. Now, still only +1 plasma shields, a bit of an issue for Cobra in my opinion. I think shields is amazing. Vikings, of course, having 2 attacks, so it does affect them twice. That is, of course, 1/3 of the carrier's hit points, 50% of the interceptor's hit points is in the shields. Mules, oh, he's dropping mules to steal the minerals. I fucking love it. But the problem is he doesn't have an orbital bank. He could have stole 1,000 minerals if he dropped like 10, 15 mules, right? He could have dropped a lot more. Now, he's starting to stack his SCVs, which is very important. He's still got a giant ghost army, which, by the way, they actually did a better job of clearing the interceptors than I expected in those fights. Just remember, if they ever get caught by the disruptors, which Cobra, I think, is thinking about maybe throwing away at some point, they will go down. Not to mention, if they get caught in the open against the carriers, they could die as well. Now, he does have personal cloaking for them, and there's not that much mobile detection here for Cobra, who's going to try and come in from this side, but he doesn't have scans. I don't think he knows how close that army is. You got to recall out of there, buddy. Oh, God, this is really scary for Cobra. Yeah, quick recall, interceptors, get back in, get back in! And the Vikings unable to punish. Recalls to the left side again. Mama says, get over here, boys. Let's kill this base. Time. Once again, this time, let's actually kill all the missile turrets first before going for the command center, maybe. Do we focus fire the command center? The carrier's disengaging a little bit, wasting a bit of time. The observer sees the rotate of the army. He knows he's running out of time. He's already lost a lot of interceptors here. You can see those carriers. They're all missing a couple of interceptors. He's trying to take this command center out, but he does say, no, we've got to recall. We've got to recall. And then recalls back to the right side. Fucking, how often do you see carriers play Ring Around the Rosie? They are literally running circles around Clem. Clem is the fat kid, and King Cobra is that piece of shit little rat kid that always runs around in circles, like punching him in the back and being a massive dick. But will Clem be like that Justice video where the bully picks up the little shit and then slams him on the ground, and that little shit looks kind of like he's being concussed? Oh, fuck me, dude. The EMPs hit every single carrier. 36 carriers versus 36 Vikings versus 19 carriers. The Vikings are focusing them down. Oh, Clem's going for a lot of ghosts got taken out by the disruptors. The ghosts had to pull back from the fight for a bit, which means they're not able to clear the interceptors. The Vikings are killing a lot of these carriers. Is it going to be enough, though? Oh my God, he's getting another one. There's only 8 carriers left right now, and the ghosts and the Vikings do clear the interceptors. You know what, guys? Once again, I think Clem won that fight. Oh no, actually he lost it. Oh, and that carrier got out on red hit points. And oh my God, he was already ready. I thought that would still be on cooldown. Recalls to the left side. There's so few interceptors that this is kind of hilarious. There's actually not many interceptors at all fighting, but there's so much bank for King Cobra. King Cobra is still building 6 carriers at a time. I think in hindsight, Cobra could have had 8 Stargates with the bank that Cobra had in this game. This is actually insane. For those who don't know, the Mothership's recall cools down a lot quicker than the Nexus's one. It actually doesn't have a cooldown. It's just energy based, in fact. It's 100 energy. So she was at 200 energy, so you can actually recall it straight away. It's just then it's going to take forever after that double recall for you to get it again. Whereas the Nexus has a massive, massive cooldown of over a minute. I think it's 71 seconds or something like that. Now he's going to start to nuke push here. He's going to try and do some damage. I think Clem needs to pull back and focus on the efficiency a little bit more, though. I mean, if he can get in and kill with like a few ghosts, that would be great. But he's got to be careful army-wise, because remember, his mining is just nowhere near. He's got mineral patches there, mineral patches there, mineral patches here. It's just that he's not rebuilding as quick. Balls. Oh, gets one ghost. One ghost goes down, and good pull, good spready by Clem. Now, Clem right now is back to 18 Vikings, but there's 13 carriers. That ratio is not something you want to see. Tempest coming out as well, and the carriers once again diving the right side. The ball's going to try and defend the left, and if they find a good shot on the ghosts, it could be worth it. Losing this base, of course, a problem for Cobra in the long run, but right now he's got so much more money. Oh, when he gets 4 ghosts, a big old ball to the face. Clem says, I'm sure there's some French words. Putain! Sac de bleu! Sac de fromage, petit protos. That's exactly how Clem speaks. For those who don't know, forget all the interviews you've seen of him. Trust me, he's saying those words right now because, yes, he's killing a base, but he needed this base way more than Cobra needed that top left base. He's 20 supply from max is Cobra, and he's got enough money to finish maxing out. So Cobra gets a full max out. And he's still got a bit of mineral, so he should still have enough money to replace interceptors. He's now on top of one of the starports. There's 26 Vikings, 7 libs, and 11 ghosts. Now, the way this army works, if you're using lots of libs and ghosts, is you're going to try and kill the interceptors. So he needs to go in, shoot a carrier with the Vikings, quickly pull back, and then the lib ghost needs to come in from behind. Good volley! Oh! He killed a lot of interceptors there, guys. He got a big volley on those interceptors. That's a very wise recall from Cobra. Loses one carrier there. But dude, you saw how many guys died. +3 liberators. That's 2 times 8, 16 damage, times 7. I don't know what the fuck 16 times 7 is, but it's a number 7. It's 112. Yeah, they one-shot interceptors. It probably only takes 5? Maybe 5 or 6, depending. I don't know what the armor. I guess with the armor upgrades, yeah, it probably takes about 7 or 8 libs to one-shot interceptors. But that's they do a good splash damage. So if they catch the interceptors clumped up and they happen to attack them, remember, you can't manually target interceptors at all. You have to just kind of A-move and be close to the clump is how that works. I haven't seen that every day. EMPing the cannons and the batteries from there, trying to long distance mine this base. In the top left is Clem. Clem has he's down 60 army supply, guys. I mean, the problem in this game is he never built the Iron Bank, right? Cobra built a massive bank. But I think this game all comes back to the fact that Clem never got the Iron Bank. He should have been able to mine out that base, this base, and then trade out his SCVs. The problem is, all game long, Clem has been fighting with a better composition. I think there's no Psy Storm or anything to punish him. The Disruptors haven't really made big changes in the big fights. The problem is, Clem hasn't had the bank. He's been fighting down 30 to 50 army supply almost every fight. This is one of those games where you're like, man, Protoss Imba, and then you realize, like, wait a second, actually, Cobra actually set up better for the late game with the double macro Nexus than Clem did. Look at this, the Ghosts were trying to dodge Disruptors while cloaked there. They dodged a few shots, they landed some EMPs, but look at that. Big old Void Ray swap to tank there. They do have Fuck Rays as well, which is why they're so goddamn fast. It's very hard to run away from Fuck Rays, Void Rays, for those who don't know. They turn on their Pissmatic alignment and take down a lot. There's still a massive double the army supply advantage for Cobra, who's just going to attack into missile turrets like an absolute Chad. And Clem here, dude, fighting with such an army supply disadvantage all game long. He actually did some pretty expert Viking Ghost play, but being that far down in army supply, oof, absolutely monstrous. All right. Let's go straight into game 3, guys. And make sure you hang around at the end of game 3. At the end of this game, guys, because whichever way this goes, I want to go back to that previous game. And I want to actually check how much the Vikings were overkilling the carriers. Because in those big fights, right, you A-move the carriers and they just fight well. And they do shred Vikings really quick. I do think Vikings might slightly win that fight. I'm not sure. Maybe if the interceptors are already pre-launched, that's actually not the case. But it felt like with EMPs taking shields off, number one, and also like ghosts helping to clear the interceptors, I do think so. But I think when he had like 35 Vikings, it was probably way overkilling. When he was just shooting a carrier, one-shotting it, and then one-shotting it. Whereas the carriers are just A-moving and attacking all sorts of different Vikings. So I want to go back to the previous game and actually look at the end of that one and see, is there a Viking count where you split your Vikings into 2 control groups? 20 Vikings? 25 Vikings in each squad? How many does it take to reliably one-shot a carrier at max upgrades? I have no idea. Yeah, please no spoilers if you guys are watching live in the chat. Down here going for a very safe double gas build. This is Clem. And that's pretty wise because his opponent's already hiding a pylon. Could be doing some cheeky business. Up in the top right, it's King Cobra. I honestly, I'm like, dude, what is Cobra going to do here? Because, I mean, this looks like a normal build, just with double gas before, so you're teching early. That's going to be a Reaper wall, so the Reaper can't run that way. It has to run into the mineral line or to the right side. Probe does come in. The SCV locks him in here, says, you can't leave! And, yeah, there's always... If any mods could clear the messages, do me a favor, get on it. There is always people who are very wisely spoiling results wherever possible in chat. Most people obviously don't get spoiled because they know the results whenever I'm doing a series that was played earlier in the week, but not everybody. The Reaper does take down the probe. Okay. So he takes out the probe. Now this pylon... Okay, that was there just to block the reactor going down. So he's just effing with him. And he goes, Stargate before expand. Okay, so this is cute. So this time around, he delays the Nexus a bit. I think you want to make sure Clem does not see that Nexus, but Clem should be able to spot it right now. Clem, you got to just check for the Nexus. This is the most important thing. So whenever your opponent does this sort of fake one base play, you got to check for that. Okay, Clem is going to go check for it, but he's going Starport on one base. So I don't mind the quick factory for safety, but at this point, going super one base centric, this is going to be a very weird scenario. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. He cancels the Starport in the bunker now. Still a little bit slow of a read, in my opinion. And it's going to be defensive Phoenix play for Cobra. He's a little supply blocked right now as he wanted to squeeze that Nexus in nice and quick. Command center on the high ground for Clem. Definitely feels, though, like Cobra is the one who's a little bit more comfortable in this weird situation. Because, look, the reactor's so slow. There is a Cyclone, which would be good versus the Phoenix. Reaper's going to try to jump on in there. If Cobra can get this kill, that would be really good for shutting down Clem's vision. Oh, Clem, run, run, run. Oh, he does get out of there. Yeah. So that means Clem does not get the vision. He doesn't know. I think you can guess it's Stargate because we've kind of seen King Cobra's toolkit at this point, and it's kind of Phoenix Stargate heavy. But you never know. And there's some cheeky bullshit, right? As Clem right now, your mind's racing because you really need to get some read of what's going on. Because if you can't get that information, the problem is you might be like, well, what if it's just a 2-base charge all in? What if he just 7-gate charge? When I take my natural, I need to wall my natural off immediately to stop that, basically. I need to get like a bunker and shit. Thankfully, he gets in. He sees Phoenix. He sees Robo. So he knows that this is going to echo the previous game. That's what's in your mind at this point is Clem. Is you're like, oh, okay, we're doing that style of game. And what I really think is the most important thing, remember what I said earlier? He needs to make sure he gets an earlier third command center if he's going into that longer game. That was really delayed last game. And he also needs to be careful about overextending on the map because this is not as quick a Nexus as the last game. Last game was a super quick Nexus before Stargate. And he still ended up losing his Cyclone and Marines on the map. Remember, I told you guys his trademark is being over-aggressive versus Stargates and making it work even when I think it probably shouldn't. He's just better than his opponents. I think sometimes Clem gets away with things that he shouldn't be able to. Raw material versus material, Protoss should be able to catch him. But this scenario is even more dangerous because the Stargate's earlier, which means there's going to be 4 Phoenix ready in a moment. So I like the threatening and then pulling back. You see, that's the move I like. He threatens, pulls back. But where's that third command center? He's got 3 Cyclones, 2 Vikings. Still no third CC. I understand his SCV count's a little bit lower, but it's interesting. I think Clem might just commit to a bunker push. Yeah, he's going second barracks as well. Okay, so he's going to try and make this a very 2-base game. Now, this can work out. What's interesting in these scenarios is the more you commit to aggression against a Phoenix Colossus defensive player, is their shield batteries become so powerful that you need to get a lot of siege tanks and Vikings to really gun down the Phoenix and then the Colossus from range. You basically, with the 3-Rex build, you can't really push into the Colossus with Marauders and Marines very well because they can just pull back through battery overcharge. It doesn't go very well. So the thing is, if you commit down this line, you almost want to go completely all in, add bunkers, never miss a beat with your tanks because he's already built so many Cyclones and Vikings that he's not going to have as many tanks as you'd like. And make sure you commit insanely hard to this push. And to be fair, if you do it really committed, I think it's hard to stop. He actually cancels his 5th Phoenix to start a Colossus. Wise play from Cobra, who's playing very conservative. He's not even probing up his natural right now. He's paused on 41 probes. And he's up to 3 gateways to get supporting units. And a 4th gateway on the front. So Cobra's thinking about killing Clem, which is really good for him because Clem's thinking about killing him. So whichever player realizes what the other one's doing first actually has a massive advantage, and it looks like it should be Cobra. Cobra, seeing the 3 barracks, seeing all those units at the front, he should have a very clear idea of, look, Clem wants to attack me, and I was already gearing up my own attack. So let's actually just double down on unit production and fuck him up. What's crazy is he's going 6-gate with no Twilight. He's just making unupgraded Zealots, but if he can get a 2nd Colossus before the fight starts, land some hits on the Marines, even just unupgraded Zealots, Adepts, and Stalkers, just having raw material will be pretty good there. If Cobra can squeeze in a Twilight, though, and get a charge, that's going to be the game changer. When that charge finishes, like, he's going to have such a good army. Because look at the Marine production. It friggin' sucks for Clem right now. So, I mean, Clem, like I said, he's got to focus on tank production and not miss a beat. He's missing tank production right now. His bio count's so sad, though, because he spent so much money on these Vikings and Cyclones, which haven't achieved anything. And this is the one thing where I think Clem is a little bit predictable, is he builds so many Vikings and Cyclones versus Stargate, and he overcommits to them to the point where this becomes a very committed push, and he needs to, at the very least, deny the 3rd base of Cobra. But however both players trade is very important, because the Observer sees this coming. 2nd Colossus is about to pop Viagra, only 20 seconds from finishing, and he's got 4 Zealots, 3 Adepts, 4 Stalkers, 6 Phoenix. Problem with 6 Phoenix is they do pretty well versus 5 Vikings. They can also just disable the tanks and the Cyclones and then let the ground units clean it up. He's looking for a kind of flank on this army by the looks of it, which is very cute. So Clem's going around the top there. And he's going to try and come back maybe through the boosty zone. I don't know. Both armies kind of vying for position here. Vikings get a shot or two off on the Colossus. The Stalkers get some shots on them, though. Cobra's just going to go for a terrible angle for Cobra, but no, he gets the pickups. The pickups on the tanks are huge. The Colossus are going after those Marines. The Colossus fry the Marines. The Cyclones go down to the Immortal. And now the Phoenix and the Stalkers turn on the Vikings. Dude, this is an absolute rout. And Cobra smacks him in the middle of the map. And Clem goes down. And this all comes down to information. As I said, it was actually both players were going for an aggressive attack, and whoever got wind of what was happening first would be able to make the right decisions. Clem had no information in this scenario, whereas that observer saw him move out, and then Cobra very sneakily positioned his army. And not just that, this Marine here was really bad for Clem. Because if you send a Marine to that base, you kind of feel like you have vision of over here, and you've got a Marine here. So Clem assumed the only place the army could be coming from was here. But this Marine was actually kind of out, not in position. So the army walked right past it. So the Marine didn't know. So he didn't know the army was on the map. He had no idea what the production situation was. And 90% of the time, a Phoenix Colossus play is a third base, and it's just turtle, turtle, turtle for days. And that's the mindset Clem was in, is I need to deny that third when you go for it. But guess what, guys? Stim, shields +1 weren't finished. He hadn't started building any Marauders. He was so important that his Cyclones, his Vikings, and his tanks were able to land hits on the Colossus. He needed the Cyclones and the Vikings to kind of get rid of the Phoenix, the tanks to hit the Colossus, and the Marines to just kind of spread behind the tanks. But Cobra was the one with the information. He was very sneaky. He rotated around here and got a fantastic position on the army. In hindsight, if Clem wanted to play a bit safer, he could have dropped a scan and seen more gateways. Obviously, one of the gateways being proxied was nice, but if he sees all these gateways, or if he sees no third base, should you be out of the map right now? 2 base first, 2 base, pre-stim, pre-upgrades, all this sort of stuff. In hindsight, a lot of the time you like to do these pushes to scare the Protoss, but if the Protoss is already gearing up for their own push, you do expose yourself to risk. And look at how disastrous this fight is, because he was so surprised. All his Marines are clumped. Cyclones and Vikings here aren't really able to focus fire or anything, right? So the Vikings A move, they do some damage to the Colossus, but then they're just shooting the Phoenix. The Cyclones have locked onto Adepts, which is the lowest value lock on. The Marines are too busy just running away to turn and fight. So the tanks get like 1 volley off on the Adepts and then do nothing. The Vikings are all shooting different Phoenix. All the Phoenix are damaged, none are dead. The Colossus disappeared to the Colossus. The Marines, sorry, disappeared to the Colossus. And there's no Marauders in here as well. And King Cobra upsets and takes out mother trucking Clem. Let's go back to game number 2 really quickly, guys. And I want to do a quick breakdown of that Viking ratio. And we're going to do some quick maths as well, okay? So we're going to go to the late game of game number 2. It'll take us about a second. Okay, guys, so basically we've just done some quick maths. It should be roughly about 18 to 22 Vikings, depending on upgrades. I believe it's usually going to be, because there's only +1 plasma shields, I think it's only 18, maybe 19 Viking shots to kill a carrier. So let's say you need 22 Vikings to be sure you're going to one-shot a carrier. Obviously, you're going to be losing Vikings as time goes on, so you want to have a few more, potentially. I think the argument here is that doing any more than, say, 25, 26, at most 27 Vikings shooting 1 carrier, you're getting an insane amount of overkill, especially in this scenario where 18 Viking shots could kill a carrier because they've only got +1 plasma shields, and we've got 34. So that's almost double the amount of Vikings you need. Now, small tidbit, guys, Clem in this series, because there was no storm, could have done a better job of stacking his Vikings. So what he could have done is he could have stacked his Vikings all on top of each other to all shoot at once, and that way, rather than entering a few at a time, kind of like he does. Oh, we were still on 8 times speed. Sorry, guys. Let's let's watch that again. He could have stacked them up a bit more and then shot all at once. Notice he kind of has to fly in really deep into range to get his back Vikings in range. But he's going to shoot one carrier. Look how many extra missiles there are that just hit nothing. And he's going to do it again. So he kills 2 carriers. He kills 3 carriers. This is one of the better fights he took in this game, by the way, because the carriers hadn't launched their interceptors yet. But you can see that especially, if we look at this in terms of ideally, how should you play this out? He's at 77 SCVs. Vikings do beat mass carriers. I really am convinced of that. if they don't have storm support or anything like that underneath. But I do feel he needed to drop his SCV count. He forgot to get the Iron Bank, the orbitals, right? So I think that basically, I'm pretty damn certain the trick is you'd want to go to about 45 Vikings. I'm not even kidding, maybe even 50. Split them into 2 squads. And if you can have those on 2 different control groups, you can just, basically you grab one side, you just shift click one side of the carriers, and then you grab the other control group and you shift click the other side of the carriers, and they just kind of focus inwards. And that's absolutely huge. Now chat has a really good point. Can't you Raven missile the interceptor and then kill with liberators? No. You're not going to be able to hit the interceptors with anti-armor missile. No, not at all. Because you cannot target interceptors. You could anti-armor missile your own Viking and try to fly it in the middle of the interceptors. It's going to be very dicey to land that. If you shoot the carriers, it's probably only going to get a few of the interceptors. It's not really necessary. I think definitely if you want to clear the interceptors, you can try to fight with liberators. That is an idea. I would say about 10 liberators, A-moving, and you want to maybe have them behind the Vikings a little bit so that the interceptors kind of clump up on the Vikings and your liberators then A-move. And if you can shoot somewhere in this mass, you're going to take out like 30, maybe even 40 interceptors in one shot. So definitely a max supply liberators are really good, but that obviously is like just another thing which could make this even more one-sided in your go. Chats has a good point as well. Shouldn't he have hunted the mothership in this series as well? Yeah, I mean, he didn't realize that it was just hiding in the corner. He assumed it was just going back there, but he could have left a Viking up here, right? To get a little bit of warning. This is something I've talked about in late game if you're playing Zest. Zest always tries to do this maneuver with the mothership and recall his army, whether ground or air, into your base. He always does it. So you actually want to always leave units on the edge, spotting to see it coming in ahead of time. You could float a barracks there, you can leave a Viking there. There's a few ways to do it to give you earlier warning. Chat says he actually did do it at one point in this series, apparently. We just missed it. Fair enough. But yeah, this is really important because Clem had a few fights where he was shooting with like 40 plus interceptors up against, 30 plus Vikings, massively overkilling versus the carriers. I think there was maybe one more fight of that before the end. Let's look at the next big air battle because this might have been the most criminal one where he's at 37 Vikings. I think this is just going to be a recall out. Yeah, that's a recall out. And this one, I don't think he stands to fight either. He could have killed the carrier there as well. He was already going back to deal with it. Okay, 38 Vikings, guys. 38 Vikings, way too many to be one-shotting interceptors. Is this a recall again? Is it? But yeah, I mean, he's doing this dance in and out. 37, 36 Vikings, they're one-shotting carriers. It's massive overkill, especially, what did we not factor into the maths? EMP. Holy fuck, guys. Clem was so reliably hitting his EMPs, he actually could have been killing these carriers with 13 Viking shots. So even with his count of just 25 or 30 Vikings in a lot of these battles, he could have split his Vikings into 2. Arguably, when he had 40 Vikings, he could have split his Vikings into 3 separate control groups and split-fired 3 carriers down at once. Can you imagine if you just kill 3 carriers in the first volley, then another 3, then another 3? Like, come on. I'm not saying it's going to work out that perfectly in practice, but technically, because he's EMPing 1/3 of the hit points off of these carriers, that brings it down from 18 shots to 13. That's actually fucking crazy. So this is actually huge. If you think about it, Clem shooting 34 Vikings onto a dude that would have died with 12 or 13, he was wasting almost 2/3 of his damage output in a lot of fights in this game. This does not mean Clem is bad or dumb. It means Clem doesn't play many games to the half-hour mark where he's way behind versus Mass Skytoss. And the overkill here was actually really deadly. I was like, oh, I think the overkill was quite a bit. I did not realize until we kind of crunched the numbers here just how drastic the overkill was in this battle. So this was actually really huge in hindsight. And remember, he was actually he started trading better in some of the fights than Cobra. Cobra only won with more bank. I think this is a testament to the skill of Clem, how well he played this game, but also hats off to goddamn Cobra. He did really well, really goddamn impressed, and taking down Clem, the reigning EU champion, over 1,000 MMR higher than you. This is so sick.